Verse 20, it says, "See, I am sending an angel ahead of you to guard you along the way and to bring you to the place I have prepared. Pay attention to him and listen to what he says. Do not rebel against him. He will not forgive your rebellion, since my name is in him. If you listen carefully to what he says and do all I say, I will be an enemy to your enemies and will oppose those who oppose you." Did you see that, what you have to do? You have to listen carefully and do everything he says. There's secrets there for our life. "My angel will go ahead of you and bring you into the land of the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hittites, Jezebites, motorbikes, Vegemites, and I will wipe them out. Do not bow down before their gods or worship them or follow their practices. You must demolish them and break their sacred stones to pieces." So there was some action for these guys still. "Worship the Lord your God and his blessing, and be on your and he will be your food and water. Blessings will be on your food and water, and I will take away sickness from among you, and none will miscarry or be barren in the land. I will give you a full lifespan. I will send my terror ahead of them and throw them into confusion, every nation you encounter. I will make all the enemies turn their back and run. I will send the hornet ahead of you and drive the Hivites, Canaanites, and Hittites out of the way. But I will not drive them out in a single year, because the land will become desolate and the wild animals too numerous for you. Little by little I will drive them out before you, until you have increased enough to take possession of the land. I will establish your borders." Many people want it now. God says, "I'm not doing it now because it'll just destroy you. You don't understand." They'll just say, "Just get rid of them now and we'll take the land." That'd be the easy way for them, wouldn't it? But see, he's got a reason. If they do that, the animals are going to take you and you'll probably be devoured by them. So there's always a reason that God takes his time, and you may want it now, but he says, "I've got everything in control." "I will establish your borders from the Red Sea to the Sea of the Philistines, and from the desert to the river, and I will hand over to you all the people who live in the land, and will drive them out before you. I will not make covenant with them, or do not make covenant with them or their gods. Do not let them live in your land, or they will cause you to sin against me, because the worship of their God will certainly be a snare to you." There's a good lesson there for us to be careful who we hang with, because their gods may become your God. God says, stay true to him and do what he asked. Who are you hanging around lately? What's your friends like? Maybe you need to get around someone who's going to be keeping you on track. So it wasn't God's plan for them to fight. And I believe it demonstrates God's nature to us, as he wants to fight for you and give you favor. And all we need to do is to obey, to listen, and stay sweet on the journey. Come on, you're getting something out of this? It's all you need to do. So God says, it's simple. Just listen to me. Just obey. Move forward. Stay sweet. And you're cool. Success. Except we get in our own way and we want to take control and become God. When we face a wall or a fight or a blockage or an attack, we must always inquire of the Lord before our direction, before we move forward. See, David in Ziklag inquired of the Lord in 1 Samuel chapter 30. He came back from fighting a battle with his 300 men, found all his wives and the kids and everything gone. And what he did is they said, we're going to stone you. So what did he do? He cried and he got his ephod and he put it on and he went and he sought the Lord and he said, should I chase them or should we not? And they said, chase them, you'll have victory. And he went and he won with 300 men and got everyone back safe. You must inquire of the Lord when you're going through something. Just stop, think, inquire of the Lord, move forward if need be. So I want to give you some quick shoots. We're a bit over time. I'm going to give you some quick shoots. Recipes for disaster. You want to hear some recipes for disaster that I've noted in my journals from this? The list is endless, but I'm going to give you a top 11. All right, here we go. Disrespect towards God and taking control and playing God. That will send you down the track. Disrespect towards God and taking control. Secondly, forgetting the good things that the Lord has done in your life. All of us have things that God has done good for you. Salvation by itself is the best thing ever. Many times we forget it and we become pious and we think we're proud. But God says you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for my breath. What about the good things? Do we meditate on them enough? Third, complain about your current situation. Are you complaining about what you're in? Looking at your furniture, looking at your dog, looking at whatever it is. Kick the dog. I don't know. Whatever your current situation is, are you complaining about it? Because you've lost vision of where you're going and what's on your life. Fourth is living in the past. These guys did all this. Living in the past. Many times we're living back there and say, oh, I remember 10 years ago I was making so much money and I had so many friends back then and now I had favour. Now look what's happened and all that. Who cares back then? What's happening now? What's happening tomorrow that you want to keep your vision and go forward for? Too many times in marriage relationships, we're always looking in the past. Oh, Carrie Lynn said it. Oh, you did that before. Strike one. And you're ready to get out the silver bullet. 3 strikes and you're out, pal. And I remember 10 years ago you did that. It's the worst thing you can do is live in the past. You need to live in the future and live in the now. Fifth is you're wanting to throw away the present to go back to the past. An attitude of wanting to just, I'm going back. Sixth, allow fear to dominate faith. These guys allowed fear and what was before them to dominate the faith and that God has put in them. God before you, who can be against you? 7, become rebellious, causing dissension among the brethren and against the Lord and his chosen leader. It's a big thing. Not just in church we see it where people get amongst each other and divide. We don't have it in this church. I love it. But we did once. Do you know if you come in this church and you want to have a bicker and you want to have a whinge, you're on the outer now. You probably won't last here. Once you could come in here and find some friends. But I don't think you could find a friend today. That's the church that we're in. But I'm wondering what it's like in your workforce. You have a boss who's a bit hard, a bit of a mongrel. So you get beside other people and you're saying, yeah, he's a bit like that at the lunchroom, isn't he? And you start back-mouthing leadership. If you back-mouth your leadership, you know what? God takes note of this stuff. And it says that he puts authority over us for a reason. So don't become rebellious, causing dissension. 8 is disrespect for leaders, bad-mouthing them. 9, following the majority instead of what is right and the Lord's way. Don't follow the majority. The world is out there. Jim Wallace said there's a new party come out, and he said, and we got to be careful not to dismiss them. You know what they're called? The sex party. That's a new one. And you know what? They have more votes in their first time than the Family First had. And he says, you know what it is? It's a lot of the Gen Ys just jumping on board for a bit of a lark and thinking it would be fun, not realising where they're taking the country. Don't go with the majority. Stand up for what's right. Acting out the will of God. Acting out of the will of God. In other words, they wanted to pick up the stone and stone him. We need to stay in the will of God. And 11, belittling God's sovereignty, his power, thinking you're bigger than him and you can run your life better and I know better. Do you agree with some of this stuff? That's the wrong way. And the result of the behaviour will be 1, loss of destiny. A life lived without hope and without a future. 2, there'll be anger, disappointment, and withheld favour and protection. Because these guys in Numbers 14, if you look at it, they got back up and they said, we were wrong, we will go in now and we'll take the land. And they said, don't go, your favour's come off you and your protection's gone. They said, oh, we're going anyway, and they were beaten to a pulp. Be careful of that. The other result you'll get is long suffering. 40 years of long suffering they had. I think they'd be a bit smarter, wouldn't you? The Bible says that the Lord forgave them, but there was consequences because of the child and the discipline, the actions. God changed his mind many times because of Moses. But I can't leave you today without just a few recipes for victory. You want to hear those? They're more fun. Keep your eyes on his promise, on the word and not the past. God has the word for you. It's in here. He's made a promise to you. Keep it. He will bring it to pass. Stand in faith and dismiss the fear. Pastor Tony talked on this morning. Fear is the biggest killer of faith. Dismiss. Ask him how he got through fear. Go and talk to him about it. His testimony, how he destroyed fear in his life over dying of cancer. And he'll tell you, it's amazing. Keep your eyes on the fruit and not the foe. Instead of the foe. What's God doing good? Seek his will and obey his call and leading. 5, be ready to fight and push through opposition, disappointments and hurts, even if it costs you personally. Are you listening? You're not going to sleep on me? We're nearly finished. Be ready to push through and fight through any oppositions, any disappointments, even if it hurts you personally, to do what's right. 6, unite with others and move forward in protection. Do you know when a lion attacks a water buffalo or something, they all scatter? You know, I've seen one video where they said, enough's enough, and they turned around and they come to the lion took off. You ever seen that? But they all run and flight. It's either fight or flight, and they go for it. But, you know, when they turn together, mate, that lion's got to run. I reckon if they attacked one of the monkeys and all the monkeys turned and went, this thing will be gone. And we need to do that in unity, that the enemy will run. He's taken off the weakies. That's why connect groups are so important. That's why unity is so important. 7 is listen to godly wisdom and seek out counsel from spiritual elders. None of this happened over there, and if we did it and we turned it around the other way, these people would have been in there in 1 month. 8 is don't become an informal, divisive leader, but work with those given authority over you and remain loyal and never get a Korah or Absalom spirit to attack and divide. 9, respect and honour your leaders. Choose grace, not condemning words or a stone. 10, seek a deep relationship with the Father so your face will shine in his glory and others will see and aspire and follow you. People are out there looking for leaders, guys. There's a lost world out there. They just want to know the way. And we have the way. What? You're not a Christian? Are you crazy? Come on, who said that to someone this week? Find someone and say, what? You're not a Christian? You're in the outer, man. That's how we should be. And the last one there is don't allow the enemy to see your fear. Don't become a grasshopper in their eyes. It says they become a grasshopper in our own eyes, but also of the enemy. Why did the enemy see that they were grasshoppers? Because it was in their eyes. You hear me? Stand strong. Don't let them see the fear. Remember, in any fight in martial arts or that sort of stuff, as soon as you're in the ring, the person sees any fear on you, you're gone. You cannot have fear. This guy trained people too, and Erwin, for people all around Australia, fights in Taekwondo. And the thing is, that was it, hey? You cannot show fear. Yeah, Erwin? No fear. If you show fear, you're lost. You got to get through it. The same as the enemy, he can read. It's like a dog. He just reads it, you know. Dogs always attack me because I'm scared of him. All right. My little one doesn't. He's only small. No, I wouldn't do that. No. Okay, just quickly, what's the results? If you live those things that I said that God wants you to do, is that God will go before you all things. His protection will be before you. The ark will be before you. His presence will go with you. And the Jerichos and the walls will come down without a doubt. Favour, protection, destiny, joy, happiness and peace will be there if you do God's will. Jesus came so we may have peace, have relationship with him and live a great life and celebrate him. Is that right? Yes. Did you get something?